when things are going bad, something good will come from it.
Like what?
Like other great ideas.
Yeah, like this one time I was at work and I sharted, I shit my pants, and I had to go to the bathroom and I had to cut off my underwear and throw them away. Luckily I had a box cutter in my pocket, so I cut off my underwear and I threw them in the garbage.
Wow.
And I was like, you'd think that this is really bad, but no, something good came out of it. It was really funny.
And now you'll always have that. You'll have that shitty situation.
Exactly. It was the first thing that came to my mind now that we started this conversation, actually. So I hope everybody's having a great quarantine. I hope you're not shitting your pants. I hope that you are able to find some silver lining here. Have you found any silver lining in this dark day and age?
You know,
the Justinian Plague Part 2.
I'll be 100% honest. It's been undulating. Right now, it feels like I'm going back and forth between feeling like everything's like in control and like everything is a little too crazy. So I like the middle ground. That's what I'm striving for here. Somewhere in between, like, oh my God, people are buying everything up and I only have a finite amount of food. Like, trying not to buy into the whole thing, but at the same time, buying in just enough so that way I'm not left out, you know, without supplies or anything like that, and then keeping a handle on all my other stuff. So yeah, it's been cool. Just another day at the beach.
Yep, it's just like, this is just like the summer of 95.
Yeah.
Calm, cool, collected. That's what we, no, it's not.
The boys are back in town.
It's the end of days, everybody.
Yep. Just nights from now.
Head for the hills. Yes.
Just afternoons. No more days.
Yeah, exactly. The sun will not rise again. No, but for real, hope everybody's staying safe. Hope everybody's getting their supplies ready, because we don't know what's going to come next. Just kidding, we do. We have the insider information. That's why you came to this podcast, because we know exactly what's going to happen. We're the only two people.
It's InfoWars, baby.
Exactly. We've got our guest Alex Jones here. He'll be telling us about Sandy Hook, the gay frogs, and tainted meatloaf coming from the Tyson factory.
Oh man, and space is fake. That was the last one that I was learning about. I don't know if that's an Alex Jones thing per se, but like, who was the other guy? Eddie Bravo, the other really fun conspiracy guy.
Yes, on this podcast we only mention podcast people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like one and the same, man. I called up Eddie Bravo the other day. He didn't answer.
iCarly
the other day too. Hey, they were bloggers, man. They pretty much had a pod.
That was like a podcast before this equipment was prevalent. But actually, I don't know. It might have been. That's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that on next week's episode. This week, we wanted to do like we try to do every week and at least bring some valuable information forth. And in this time of strange occurrences that none of us are used to, like John was saying, it's undulating. We've got ups and downs. A lot of downs right now. We're in a pretty major down, and I mean, it varies for a lot of people, I'm sure.
It's net catabolic.
It is net catabolic, but I, for one, gotta say that I feel fortunate that I'm not sick, that I haven't lost my job.
Yeah.
Can't lose a job if you don't got one. That's what I always say.
You can't fire me. I never worked for you to begin with.
Exactly. But the downside is that I yesterday made the tough decision to put a hiatus on my training, so I will no longer be seeing clients for the next couple weeks or so here, which stinks because it's a lot of fun for me to train with these people who are my friends and my family, and I feel as though I have some responsibility for helping to keep them on track. So I'm going to try my best to make sure that happens and just try to stay positive during this.
I feel that, man. A lot has happened in a week, because last week when we were recording the pod, I think I was up to loss of 3 clients.
I think you're right.
And shortly after that had escalated. Well, it had doubled to 6. And then I think within the end of that day, it came down to the gym is closed until the end of the month. nobody can train. So a lot changed really fast, and I think that was part of the struggle for me, just to unpack everything mentally and then figure out where to go from there. But yeah, much like you, I think we're in the same boat, man. We just want to help people through this the only way that we really know how and that we can, with belief in the words and advice that we give out, which is through general health, wellness, and most importantly, fitness. So
They all go hand in hand.
yeah. Hey, thanks to everybody who's sticking around.
Everybody who hasn't dropped dead yet. We know a lot of our viewership in Italy has declined. Unfortunately, too soon. Come on, man. Why you got to be making those jokes? Hope you're all right, Italians. But now that gyms have closed, like John said, this actually happened. Today's Thursday, the 19th. That was some news that came out Tuesday afternoon. So we've been one full day removed, 1.5 now, from gym access. And I think that's just straight crazy that they have closed the gyms. Like, you got to wonder what's next. Like, it makes sense, yes, that they are a place where you're going to have a lot of people congregating, a germ pool, if you will. But I just think that's like unprecedented.
It's right up there with restaurants and bars.
Yeah,
man.
it's like what the heck? Yeah, they're on Tuesday when the Tucson mayor made this decree. I heard that there are people. Tuesday was St. Patty's Day, so there are of course people downtown for recreation, and come 8 o'clock, there's a literal curfew. They sent like the police, I hear, to go down and make sure that everything cleared out.
St. Patty's Day, man.
Fortunately, there's no like riots or anything. I figured there might be because people be drinking and they want to keep drinking, and then the pigs come and tell them to get out of here. Like, no way, man. Now, fortunately, there was no sort of violence or anything like that. Not that I've heard about, at least, or at least not widespread. So that's good.
Well, I mean, they had to hold me back from getting violent because I need my
green beer,
my Village Inn over here, my green beer. I was about to start throwing hands when it came down to the cans of corned beef. Grandma down the aisle had grabbed the last can, and they were quickly running out of sauerkraut. So I was starting to fume up a little bit, but I got it under control. It was all right. I made it home just in time for curfew, and I managed to get to bed feeling all right.
Yep, just a little bit of guilt, I would imagine. But other than that, that's nothing you're not used to.
Yeah. That's actually, I can't actually go to bed unless I have that guilt.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's how I live my life to that end.
Yep. John has maxed out on his pleasure, and now he seeks pain for solace.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we're at now. So John and I are also fortunate that over the past while we have invested in some home gym equipment, so we're not left out as far as weightlifting, which is cool, and we're able to still practice some of this stuff. But we think it's very important that even if you don't have this type of equipment at your house, or like anything at all, that you remain active at very least. I think that is going to be one of the most important things that you can do right now. Your goals in the gym can wait, honestly. They can. You're not going to lose a heck of a lot of progress in a couple weeks, but we don't know if it's going to be a couple weeks, so you might as well get in the habit of working out at home. Yeah. Because if it's not a couple weeks, you just want to be moving. You don't want to be sedentary. That's the most important thing.
All right, some homework for all the viewers, all the listeners out there. We've got Rocky IV, okay? I don't know if you're familiar with this one, Elliot, Rocky IV.
I don't know. What is it, that one with the Russian?
Yeah. Okay, so I barely saw any of the Rockies for the first time in the last few months.
Quarantine.
Yeah. I actually did it in the last few minutes.
Yeah, you practiced.
I binge watched it just for this. I didn't want to fail the test. But so Rocky IV, a little different than the other Rockies. Not really. He trains with rocks and logs and hot chicks and cars and snow. So go find any one of those things. Maybe start with the snow. Search really hard.
Mount Lemmon. It just snowed on Mount Lemmon. If you were in Tucson, Go up to the mountain. Just kidding. Road's closed. No snow for you. But I like where you're thinking with this because have you ever pushed a car just for the hell of it?
Yeah, well, not for the hell of it. Usually out of necessity, but it was never really fun.
Nothing different here. Because I have pushed a car both for necessity and for the hell of it. And I can tell you that either way, wow, is it a workout.
It can be, yeah. What were you pushing? Toyota Miata?
Toyota Miata, no, it was actually a Chevy Chrysler.
Oh,
but,
okay.
It was just a
Ford Bronco.
A coupe, a small coupe. But, the bigger the car, the more people you need. You can still do it.
Yeah.
But think outside the box. So that's a great way. I didn't even think about that you could go out and find a parking lot or something, start pushing your car if you want a beastly leg workout.
Or the movie
swear.
300. That's the other piece of homework. 300. So I don't know how accurate that is. Actually, I'm willing to say it's not very accurate. But
they all had six
those
packs.
boys have abs. Okay.
There are a lot of crunches in Sparta.
Yeah, I mean that's all they could do. That's all they could do. So train like a Spartan. Realize that you don't need the implements of the gym in order to maintain fitness and to maintain a physique. You just have to get a little bit resourceful. That's one of my most favorite sayings actually is it's not a matter of resources, it's a matter of resourcefulness. If there's a will, there's a way. You just have to kind of figure out your approach, figure out starting or working backwards from what your goal is to what you have available to you, and then therefore what you can actually do.
And you could really look at this on a continuum too, because if your goal is simply to be fit and to feel well, you're really not going to need to get creative like this. You can literally go out for a walk, go out for a jog.
Yeah.
You can do some stretching, do some yoga or something, things that never require much of any equipment. And these things will keep you on track. However, if you have goals that involve strength and the building of muscle, again, like I said before, no worries to put them on the back burner because you're not going to lose what you work for in just a couple weeks here unless you totally F off with your diet and you like gain a bunch of weight and you stop doing anything. Then I could see you possibly experiencing some deconditioning at least. But on the other end of that continuum from just wanting to be healthy to wanting to continue to work to your performance and strength and muscle, you ever heard of the girlfriend squat?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. There's many ways you can load the girlfriend squat, and this is a great way to provide yourself a great way. I'm gonna say that again. This is a great way that you can provide yourself with resistance on the squat movement without any sort of weights. This is prison style.
Yeah.
Except in prison, everyone knows if you're in a relationship, it's like prison. You might as well get the most out of it, and that's the gains.
And the cool thing is, I mean, there's a 50-50 chance that she knows how much weight you're about to lift. Like, either you have a girlfriend who keeps up with that stuff, or she's just like hasn't checked her weight in like 5 years.
I mean, I say just put it up to estimate. Just say just call her 200 every time. That way you feel good.
It's about
you're lifting
350
heavy, and then she, I don't know what she'll feel, but
Fun, just fun.
yeah, exactly.
The feeling of fun inside and out.
But jokes aside, valid
That's
options.
it
Squat
is,
a buddy.
very.
It's got to be a close friend, someone that you're already in contact with. Don't be trying to give the Roni to someone just to squat them. But
That's funny, man. I mean, I wonder if anyone's done that. It might work though. Good first date ideas. Hey, I'm over here. Coronavirus shut down my gym. I ain't got symptoms. We'll go get tested together, and then I can squat you.
it's far more intimate than any sort of sexual favor.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that was the original plot for Lady and the Tramp.
If I'm not mistaken, that was God's original plot for reproduction.
What went wrong, man? What went
I don't
wrong?
know. We got a disgusting culture we live in.
So I heard that the dolphins are back in Italy because people have been quarantined for a little while now, and it's allowed the waters to clear up through certain parts of Italy. And my point to that is,
Dolphin squat?
yeah, dolphin squat. We'll go out, enjoy nature, man. Like this is the time. go find a new liking to the outdoors, because the outdoors have always been there. We get in the habit of sometimes shutting it out and sticking to our routine of inside a box all the time, whether the box is your house, your car, your job, your cubicle. No matter what it is, it's not outdoors. So go outside, soak up some of that sunshine. Damn, get some raindrops on your skin. How about that?
Ooh, I got rained on yesterday. Not sure if I'd recommend it because it got really cold. Went golfing and it looked like a little stormy out. You know, it rained a little bit on the way there, but we're like, we'll be fine. Made it through 4 holes and then we just got dumped on. We got poured on, and then we were just like, great, well, we have to go. And then when we left, we were literally the only people there other than the employees. Like, the employees were literally just waiting for us to call it and then come in so they could go home too.
You guys were like the one guy that's out in the rain, like when the Weather Channel's documenting a hurricane, and there's just like random guy out there enjoying himself out for a walk and the weather's all shit.
Yep, I mean, it felt like that, but I got to say, it wasn't the worst. Yeah, I tried to enjoy it. It was a little too cold to really enjoy, but it's all in your head.
That's a good metaphor for this whole situation. Like, you just give it your best shot at keeping a good positive attitude. It is what it is. You're gonna get rained on, man, but
it's not gonna kill you.
It's gonna stop eventually. You just gotta keep going.
It might get you susceptible for the Roni, but
yeah. I like the Roni.
Yeah, me too.
That's a good name for it.
It tastes good.
It reminds me of
pepperoni.
Exactly, pepperoni Tony, Sergeant Pepperoni.
Sergeant Pepperoni's Pizza.
Yeah. You know the guy. You know the man.
There's actually a place down the road called Sergeant Pepperoni's Pizza.
Yeah, man, that's me.
Oh dang, man. SBO. No, sorry for the shutdown.
Yeah, hey, cat's out of the bag, but.
No pizza. Don't be eating pizza right now.
Definitely not.
Never even a slice. Don't even think about it. Don't look at it. Don't even imagine it. Don't dream about it. Just kidding. Go ahead and eat some pizza if you want some.
I mean, yeah. Burn your sheets, though, after.
Yeah. But you better be staying active, and that's the main thing. So, again, what are some other outside-the-box implements that you could use for exercise? You could pick up a rock.
You can. Rocks can be a little bit awkward and do take a little bit of finessing as far as form goes.
But if you ever heard of strong man, just look up how to do like an atlas stone. Or actually, they do irregular size stone carries and stuff like that too. So if you want to go out and pick up stones, there's ample information on how to do so safely, believe it or not, on the internet.
I've used fallen tree branches in the past, like big enough to carry across your shoulder, kind of like a yoke or a barbell if you were about to do a squat. You can do lunges with that. Another really good thing that I often overlook, but now kind of keep as like one of my go-tos, are hill runs or hill sprints. So if you can find a nice steep hill, like maybe in a wash or something like that, not steep enough to where you can't run it and you're more climbing it, but just steep enough to where it's a really good challenge if you try to sprint up, and it's not like you're breaking any speed records here. You're just giving it maximum effort, a couple rounds at a time. I'd say shoot for, like anywhere from 4 to 6 hill sprints, take a minute rest, do it again. Like that's a workout there.
Sprints in general are a workout. So whether or not, if you have a hill, just set up a stretch that you can sprint, and or if you're into distance running, then that's always an option. You've probably been doing that already.
Yeah.
So we don't even need to tell you to do that. But I think that getting outside and doing something out there would be a major plus on top of just the activity. So if you can find something to do outside, I mean, I've been doing some terrible yard labor for the past while, just like taking it in little chunks, like a couple hours at a time. And oh my God, it's hard work. Like hoeing weeds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you got a weedy yard, maybe now's the time to go and take care of that.
For
Two
sure.
birds, one stone. You get out, get some. Actually, that's like 3 birds. You get some sun, you get some activity, and you clean up your yard.
Wow. Yeah, that's a win-win-win right there.
Exactly.
I came home the other day and my front yard was mysteriously very clean, and I went to the dumpster that we keep near the side of the house, and I opened it up and all the weeds were in there. I was like, what the heck? there's some witchery afoot here. Like, what? Who pulled all my weeds for me? And then I got a text from the landlord. He's like, hey, I forgot to tell you, I sent the landscaper over, and you should text him to set up a time so you can go into your backyard. So, you know, that's like an LLL. Somebody else had to do it for me, man. That could have been me, but next time I'll seize the day.
I wouldn't call that an LLL, though. That's cool that your landlords took care of it, and they're going to take care of the backyard too.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Very thankful.
But yeah, you can. You know, you're not the person I'm worried about finding activity because you're here thinking of ways to do so. So don't even worry about missing the weeds. There'll be another spring, maybe. Probably not, though, the way we're going, actually. So, actually,
right? you
missed your last opportunity to ever pull weeds.
Yeah, dude. I mean, who knows what comes after this?
Exactly. End of days, part 2.
Fireballs.
The episode. So, besides irregular equipment, I actually just made a YouTube video today about some very, very cheap equipment and space-conscious equipment that you can purchase to literally just throw that in the closet, and then when you need it, you'll be happy you have it. So things like a pull-up bar, a door frame pull-up bar,
amazing
resistance bands, a jump rope, to name a few of the items that I had. So these are all things that you can get for you probably get all 3 of those things for less than $50, ordered on Amazon, delivered to your house, or you can go to Walmart and grab them somewhere that's still open, you know. And these things can make a big difference if you got nothing, and getting these few items, especially the pull-up bar, will make a huge difference in what you can do inside your house.
Yeah. Well, there's so much that you can do body weight wise in terms of anterior body. So like upper body push exercises, you've got things like push-ups with all the variations, be it like the crazy ones like handstand push-ups, or even just a traditional like knee push-up on the floor. You have a whole broad range of things that you can do to train that muscle group, as well as squats. I mean, that's another anterior exercise because it's hitting your quads. So you've got body weight squats, lunges, forward, backward lunges,
Bulgarian split spots.
Yes.
Split spots.
the BSS.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much you can do, but then in terms of programming, I know that one of the first roadblocks I ran into when it came to trying to devise home workouts and home routines was how in the hell are you going to be hitting your back muscles efficiently without equipment? And it's very possible, don't get me wrong. I mean, you're going to be looking at a lot of like row variations with heavy objects. So if you don't have a dumbbell, well, something that'll substitute for a dumbbell would work for
cat litter, jug thing, or bucket.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah. A can of paint or whatever, jug of water. I mean, there's a ton of things you just have to go around
Stuffed
and
animal.
kind of think, dude, don't get crazy.
Okay. Sorry.
Strength on the back burner, man.
My bad. I keep forgetting.
But besides that, the pull-up bar is so helpful. It really changes the game, and you don't have to be at the proficiency level of doing a full body weight pull-up either. You can set things up to where you have, for example, a chair in front of you, like just a normal chair, and set your legs up on there as you're doing your pull-ups. So think of it as like an assisted pull-up. Still super taxing, helps build the posterior musculature of the upper body, and man, all you need is that dang bar.
One of my favorites too, that you don't need anything at all. I mean, maybe a chair if you're short and you need to get up, that will help. But is a controlled negative. So just jumping yourself up to the top portion of the pull-up, and then really slowly and controlled letting yourself down. That is a great precursor to performing a full rep in the future. So you got a lot of options that you can use with this. Not to mention if you have or you want to get some pull-up assistance bands.
Yeah.
They're very versatile. You can use them for more than just that, and they will give you the opportunity to go through that full range of motion.
Yeah.
Or have a friend, anyone in your house or whatever, have them grab onto your legs, and then they can give you assistance that way. There's so many different ways that you can use this, even if you can't do a pull-up. So it's awesome.
No shortage of options. So really, when it comes down to it, I think that that's going to be one of the most crucial things. But you also mentioned bands, and when it comes to bands, you've got variations with that as well. I like how in your video you call it the fettuccine style.
Just fettuccinis.
So you can do a thicker flat band. Yeah, perfect for pull-ups. If you have a buddy or a girlfriend or somebody, anybody.
Boyfriend?
Yeah, boyfriends, all the boyfriends. Just get them to hold that band and help you out with a resisted run. Like that could be really cool and pretty different.
That actually is, I gotta say, a banded sprint is, in my opinion, more difficult than a hill sprint. So you probably shouldn't do that. If you like yourself at all, don't do that. Just kidding. It's super, super challenging.
They're beast. But let's see what else. Oh, you've got the spaghetti style bands, like the tube style.
Yep.
And so we did a workout earlier today, and you had a pretty interesting setup for the unilateral row using those spaghetti style bands.
It wasn't. It was the fettuccinis that we were using.
Oh crap! That's right. Yeah,
you can use the spaghetti style though if you have. I just only have one set of those, so
yeah,
you would need 2 sets. But actually, you really wouldn't. You can do one arm at a time, so you could easily do that.
Damn. All right. And what else do you mention?
Ab wheel. An ab wheel is something that you can get for, I think I've seen them at Walmart for less than $10. And if you are a good planker, you can plank for a minute consistently. I would say that you are a perfect candidate for the ab wheel, because the ab wheel takes the plank to a whole new dynamic level. And it's very, very challenging, but that's what we want out of a workout. We want it to be challenging. And the ab wheel, for anyone who's never seen it, is like super, super compact. You can throw it anywhere. So I think that's a perfect option for someone who doesn't want, a bunch of equipment in their house, but needs to work out at this time.
Yeah.
Another piece of equipment was glute bands. So you can also get yourself some glute bands, which are just the ones that go around your legs, the ones of a very small diameter.
Mini bands.
But yeah, they're great for, you can get a heck of a workout band walking with some tight bands, kill your butt.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
And you can also do other things with them. A lot of rehab type of things as well. So a great implement for preparing for your workout and or stretching, tight muscles, stuff like that. So you can use that for many things. So very versatile and very cheap and very small.
I think in terms of thinking outside of the box, like this could also be a really good opportunity to work on the forgotten muscles. You used to have a forgotten muscle day, but now with this, I guess I don't want to call it a limitation or a restriction. With this opportunity that presents itself here, where we're having to get creative with workouts. Let's say mini bands, for example, the glute bands. So I have the small rubber ones. I think you have the cloth ones, right?
I have both.
Okay, so it might not work as well with the cloth bands, but if you have the rubber bands, you can even get into ankle exercises, some different wrist exercises, which might not sound like very much, but if you're going to be pairing that with any type of running or sprinting, then they're load-bearing joints that could always benefit from some additional strengthening, and they do respond pretty well to just high rep movements that shuttle a lot of fresh blood into the cartilage and that whole area itself, so as to just strengthen you right up, keep you moving.
Yeah, that sounds to me like it is also a great idea to use this time to address some issues that you may have, some muscle imbalances, some, if you run and you're anything like me, I get a super tight muscle in the front of my calf here.
Ooh.
And it is always a really annoying thing that happens to me. So that could
like
be
shin
a time
splints.
I don't know, man. I don't really know what the definition of shin splints is, but
Feels like your bones splintering.
no, it's not. It's in the muscle here that runs out. I can't remember what that muscle is called.
Anterior tibialis.
I guess so, because there's not one on this side, so
That's
that must
in the
be
front. Yeah.
So anterior tibialis. Thank you, John. He is such a smart guy. But that muscle on me frequently gets tight, and that has something to do with dorsiflexion, I would say.
For sure, man.
So I, for one, could stand to do some of these ankle exercises to hopefully, strengthen that joint and minimize that. So think about things that have been bothering you, and then now may be the time to get a little bit more consistent about addressing it.
Yeah, do it simple. I mean, man, you don't even need bands to work on that, like address an issue like that. You could do foot circles, like 50 foot circles in each direction. Try that. And try doing it without screaming about the burn. Like, it's not easy, man. It freaking burns a lot. So tons of beneficial things that you can be doing. If you've got dogs, I was gonna say if you have a cat. If you have a cat,
then you shouldn't be listening to this.
yeah, get out of here. We don't need your cat listening ears listening to us. No, we love cats too. Mostly the movie. That's how I was introduced to cats. But I'm trying to say, take them outside. Do something outside. That we're gonna keep coming back to it, just because I think that it's something I've noticed for a long time. And like driving to California, where a lot more people live in closer quarters, I think that naturally it drives people to public transportation or walking, or just in general being outside more. So although they don't have the benefit of like some of the scenery that we have out here, they're also not dealing with like the freaking heat that we get during the summer. But it's not summer yet. Get outside, enjoy the weather. Take a cue from some people, in the bigger cities that are forced to go outside, and force yourself to go outside.
Just don't use public transportation. Not right now.
Yeah, no.
I would recommend a scooter. That could be a good way to get yourself around town and get some exercise. But remember to switch feet every now and then, so you get a good push on each leg. Now, John's right though. We'll probably get back to being outside at least twice more within this podcast.
Yeah.
Because now is the time to do it. It's spring. It's beautiful outside. Try to find something that you can do out there in with limited people, of course. Still don't want to be that guy spreading the roni.
Right. Yeah. Isolation.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, not a doctor, so I don't know how valid this is, because this has never happened with like any of the other, like H1N1, like 10 years ago or whatever. They didn't quarantine everybody.
Bad.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was bad at all. Like, I don't remember any change in day-to-day life with that.
No, I just remember it going around almost as a joke. Like, no disrespect to people who suffered from it, but I don't know very much about it. I think we were in the age range where we were young teenagers, and it was just like, if you coughed, you had the swine flu. And like,
and now it was a joke.
Yeah,
it was literally
funny.
like, the swine flu.
Like,
but that's
man.
kind of how it is now too. Still not much has changed.
Right,
Cough,
right.
You say corona.
Yeah.
But back then, like, anyone who was around back then knows that it was not like this. So this is like, again, unprecedented.
Yeah.
None of us have been through anything like this. So let's just try to be as careful as possible, because even if you're not sure, even if you are 100% actually sure that you won't get it, or you're not going to give it to anybody, that is a very selfish way to think.
Yeah.
So you should probably just chill out for a while. Like, honestly, like, enjoy this time. Try to find that silver lining. You don't need to keep going out, and you don't need to keep touching your greasy hands on shit. Like, just chill for a little while and you'll be all right.
I just pictured that like Garbage Pail Kids, like just like a literal greasy, like dripping grease hand, like touching things. But it's true, man. I got a call from my mom the other day, and she was hanging out with my brother Mark, who's 18. Shout outs. Hello. They're listening. They like us.
Good. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Go Steelers.
Hey, Mom. So she gave me a call and she was like, we're so bored. There's only so many hours you can stay inside. And I get it. Cabin fever, I think I was telling you, it's starting to hit me a little bit.
You don't have to stay inside. You could go to the fucking park. You can go in your backyard. You can go and do something a little bit different.
Right.
You don't have to go to the mall. You don't have to go to the restaurant. You can go to take a hike. You can go
Take a hike, Mike.
take a walk. Like literally go walk around the block or something. Like
Well, I want to challenge people out there. I want to challenge you, listener.
get hooked on crack.
First one's free. Come to me. But okay, challenge yourself. And even if you don't go outside, break the habit loop that you have going on right now, because chances are you're feeling a little bit bored. Maybe even if it's just a little bit, the challenge is still for you. And break the cycle. Do something that you wouldn't normally do. So if reading sounds like a boring thing that you would never do, do it.
A lot of reading gets a bad rap by a lot of people, unfortunately. So
You need to
And I
find
gotta
good
say,
books.
I was one of those people. Yeah, that's the key. You got to find good books. That is 100% the key, because for me, like most of the books I ever read up until fairly recently were books that I was told to read, not ones that I've picked. And I remember reading some books that I did pick that I really enjoyed, but that was like the minority. Most of the stuff that you have to read, like going through school and whatnot, it gets picked for you. So you may or may not enjoy it.
Right.
But now you've got the option. Get Audible, because you can't go to, you don't even have to read then too. Actually, that's a good idea. Listen to a book as well.
That works.
But you can get books on like your phone and stuff, like with Kindle or whatever. That's what I was trying to say to begin with. And then you don't even have to go out. You don't have to go break your quarantine or anything like that. But now you've got a great way that you can take your mind off of the boredom, the possible anxiety you might be feeling about the situation, the possible fear you might be feeling about the situation. You have a time now that you can kind of step back from that and maybe enter that fantasy world of Lord of the Rings or whatever you want to read.
Fiction, nonfiction, you can literally read a book about anything. And
It's a very productive hobby.
yeah, well, just keep in mind, there's a quote that I really like, and I stand by it. Life's too short to finish bad books. So if you don't like it and you've given it an honest shot, you didn't just read 5 pages, you gave it like chapter 3 or 4 territory, then you can step back and say, all right, this isn't for me. Try something else. But you gave it an honest shot. That's
But
how
don't
you
give
cultivate.
reading in total a bad rap just because you picked a bad book.
No, exactly. Make that distinction. It's not reading, it's the material. It didn't resonate with you. And there's so many times where I've gone back to books that I bought years ago because I thought it sounded cool, and it wasn't, but I kept it anyway. And going back, it was way better of a read. And I thought, oh my God, why didn't this click with me before? Well, because I just mentally wasn't prepared, or for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So give it another shot. And like Elliot said, Audible or any kind of similar like audiobook app is going to be so great. Nowadays, the spoken word is just as powerful as the written word. So if you can get any kind of knowledge, something that you can focus on and stimulate your brain with, it's going to feel so good after a little time. Similar to exercise. It's one of those things that initially might not be the most comfortable, but that's only because your habit is not to do that. It hasn't become normal for you. And so giving it the honest shot it deserves will help you to improve yourself in that way, instead of just sitting down and going through the same cycle of whatever Netflix you've got going on and sitting on the couch, bad posture, feeling soft, tired, even though you didn't do shit with your day. Like, go break the cycle, break the habit loop you have going on, and do things out of the ordinary. But think of the greater good here for yourself.
Exactly. Now it would be a great time to start to explore your interests. Everybody has interests, and most people don't have a lot of time to do much about them. So now you can really dive in. I think YouTube is another fantastic place to go to learn, because literally anything that you want to know.
I'm trying to learn how to build a moat.
I can guarantee you'll find something on YouTube to help you build that moat. But now is jokes aside, now is the time that you can, if you are free and you have been, pause on your work or whatever it may be right now, and you are legitimately like stuck inside. You don't have to be. You can go outside and enjoy some fresh air and some sun. Just don't go into highly populated places. Don't be a part of the problem if you don't have to be. And B, you don't need to be bored. Boredom is a horrible excuse in this world that we live in. There's absolutely no reason to be bored. Right. You can always find something to do, and I think it just comes down to thinking of what you're interested in and then trying to dive in with that.
Yeah. The way I like to see it is if you've been bored for too long, then it just means you haven't been acting on your intuition. You've been defaulting to autopilot, and autopilot has got you to routine. It's not stimulating anymore, even though you're doing all these stimulating things, like whether it's video gaming or watching TV or, I don't know, smoking crack. Like... It all gets old after a while, man. You need some variety.
I don't know if
spice.
smoking crack gets old. I'm pretty sure that gets like mandatory.
No, man. There came a time where I was like, eh.
You should put down the pipe once and for all.
Yeah. I was like, geez, it's been 2 weeks here. Like, I haven't moved a muscle. I'm all atrophied now. I'm bored.
Dude, that is not how crack works. You'd be up and about.
Well, maybe I had the wrong stuff.
Maybe you got heroin.
Oh,
Sounds
shoot.
more like it. Either way, everybody, don't do hard drugs.
No, that's not the way. It's not the way at all. Get high on life, man.
Get high on the smell of your farts.
Is that possible?
Oh, if you have a stinky enough one.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I bet you get a little dizzy.
Ew. It's a challenge right there. How bad can you make your indigestion?
Well, now that we're going to be relegated to eating canned beans for sustenance forever
Garbanzos.
until it runs out, we're going to be having some good farts. So send us your farts, everybody.
Yeah, bottle them up.
Yeah, bottle them up.
We like them fresh.
Yeah, the postal service is still open. We'll get them.
Rain, sleet, hail, snow, pandemic.
Pandora radio.
Yeah. Man. Well, actually, that reminded me of the next thing that I think would be really worth talking about and of lots of value, especially to our folks out there who have goals of either strength or aesthetics, things that are highly dependent on maintaining a certain degree of not only muscle mass, but neuromuscular efficiency, which takes a lot of calories. So nutrition, just finding out what your maintenance nutrition would be like, so that way you can minimize the loss of any type of gains that you have accumulated over the last training blocks.
Yes. Now is not the time to get off of your diet. Do what you can, of course, with the uncertainty as far as getting food. Like yesterday, John was telling me about how he went to the local market and couldn't find what he needed. And that's like honestly scary. Like, cause that's not so far from what we're used to in this society.
Yeah.
Is we are used to accessibility. We can go at any time of the year and get any fruit or vegetable that we want. And now with the craziness going on, that is not something that's guaranteed anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's first and foremost, is do what you can, get what you can. If it's got to be canned food, if you don't have if you can't find the stuff that you'd normally be eating, you're gonna have to find something different. You can't. It's not like you can just stop eating, or you can just F off and get a freezer pizza or something, even though I bet you all the freezer pizzas are taken.
Yeah. Yeah, they are, man. It's crazy. Like, Costco is out of ground beef.
Yeah. So, and Costco, they have literally ground beef by the truckload.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen those? Like, they're bigger than my arm.
Yeah,
ground
they've got those, and then they've got the packs that they make. They're like actually really awesome that they're like 89% lean, which I was like pretty surprised, because usually you don't get bulk ground beef in that leanness.
Yeah.
But I bought a pack of like 5 pounds there, and that's all they have is like stacks and stacks of 5 pound packs.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah. Nope. So try your best to get the foods that you want to get. You know, go out and search. If you got to go to a couple stores, you got to go to a couple stores. But if you can't find that stuff, you're going to have to start to get a little bit creative, because if you're anything like me, I have a pretty steady routine as far as my diet goes. I like to have a protein source, which is normally meat with vegetables and with a starchy carbohydrate. So like rice or potatoes or something like that.
Yeah.
Went to fries the other day, no potatoes whatsoever.
Wow.
So what am I going to do? If you can't get potatoes and they're all out of rice too, which they have been as well.
Carrots.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, honestly, you can, I'm sure there's something that you can find that's not too bad. Like you can go find like a decent bread or something. Like I bet you anything that there's still some Ezekiel bread at the place. 'Cause Ezekiel bread's kind of like a little secret. That those sprouted grains, not a lot of people really know about them, but it's very nutritious. You're gonna have to make do with what you can find, basically, is what I've just been saying for like 5 minutes round.
Sardines.
The Deans.
Yeah, don't be afraid to try things that you discounted in the past.
Don't be afraid to bring your sardines to the Renaissance Festival.
Definitely not.
So you don't have to eat anything else.
That's the cheat code, man. I felt so good. Like in all the past Renaissance Festival years that I've gone, I always get too hungry, and I don't like to eat the crap out there. Call me a weirdo. I just don't. I don't know.
They don't have many nutritious options. Is the problem.
For me, it's not. It wasn't that primarily. Like back in the day, that was less of a reason than the cost of things. So yeah,
that
a little
too.
bit
It's
of
like,
a cheapskate,
it's like an airport.
whatever. Yeah, it's just that you're forced to buy it. So this year I took my sardines, and guess what? I felt amazing. Nobody said anything, and it was great. Also very cost effective. But it's a great source of omega-3s, which is something that is going to be really beneficial for brain health, lowering inflammation, and especially if you do feel sick, well, inflammation is something that needs to go down. And so stick to those fish source of protein and fats, and you'll feel pretty good.
Sardines also, I got to preface this. I've never even tried sardines. Honestly, a little bit scared. But I respect them for what they bring to the table nutritionally.
Yeah.
And convenience-wise. So,
Tastes like tuna, man.
okay, so I'll try them one day.
It's not as dry.
They're soaked in olive oil. So that was the first thing I was going to say, is that this is a very calorie dense food stuff that is going to last a very long time. And it's not got probably any carbs in it.
No.
Probably negligible, like maybe if any.
It's a whole fish, scales, heads, everything. And you just eat the full thing. I know it sounds kind of gross at first, but channel your inner, I don't know, grizzly bear. Yeah. your inner grizzly bear grills, and just guzzle it down. It's not bad at all. I'll tell you, fish is fish, especially canned fish. There seems to be similarities amongst canned foods in general that they just take on a flavor.
Canned tuna and canned salmon taste the same.
Yeah. It's similar to that. Just imagine that it's not as dry and flaky, and actually kind of, in my opinion, a little more appetizing. I hadn't had sardines for a long time. Like I waited pretty late. Well, I mean, by most standards, still early, but I've only recently started eating them. And before that, I was dry canning tuna all the time.
This episode, by the way, is sponsored by Big Sardines. So the industry that rules the world, Big Sardines, buy some now if you can find them. One other thing I wanted to mention that is sardines, I believe, are one of the fish that have very, very low mercury content. So they are a more I guess, and also I believe they're wild caught because they're just like so abundant.
Yeah,
they are a very sustainable fish option, basically.
Yeah, things to watch out for, as with any other time that you're looking for food, is you want to make sure that you've got a certain amount of quality there. So there are companies, like you can get sardines at the 99-cent store, but those are going to be packed in lower quality vegetable oils like canola oil, and just things that are going to be a little more pro-inflammatory, as opposed to like an olive oil, which it has a lot more benefits, as opposed to, what's the opposite of a benefit? What's the word for that? cons, negatives, downsides, things that will not benefit you.
Well, I gotta say though that if you are forced to be shopping at the dollar store, if you don't usually for food, which I don't hear great things about a lot of dollar store food.
No.
But if you gotta do it, you gotta do it. It's gonna be better
Exactly.
than nothing. And if you can make that choice to get some sardines instead of some fucking weird ass shit that they might have, that is even less like not even real food, you know, like one of those weird freezer meals that I see on the internet this guy makes and reviews.
They've got some cool stuff at the 99-cent store. But no, good point there is, if it comes down to it, you really shouldn't be as much of a stickler on the quality. It's survival overall, and you're still opting for a higher quality protein than like a can of Spam. But given the option, make sure that you're doing your due diligence as well. Just because it's the pandemic doesn't mean grab everything off the shelf. Like, still look at it and think carefully about what you are about to consume. It still matters.
At this point here, again, Thursday, the 19th of March, do you think that now it would be an okay time to go and start to get a little bit more food? Not saying hoard it, not saying hoard toilet paper. I'm saying get a little bit more food to have in your house just in case shit gets worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that I've been thinking about it is, if we look at like a case study with Italy, they went into lockdown and they were actually enforcing, as far as I know, are currently enforcing penalties on people who refuse to self-isolate. So there's a strong motivation there to stay indoors from the government.
So do you know if they are allowed to go outside and run and play at the park and stuff like that, or
I don't think they can.
Shut down? So
It's shut down.
So if that's happening there, who are we to say that that's not going to be enacted here?
That's what I'm predicting, and this is all speculation. It's just based off of, what we can observe, but just based off of the whole handling of all this, one can assume that we're probably headed in that direction. So with that, we can also see that they left two very critical things open. Those were pharmacies and grocery stores. People need those things, of course, hospitals included, but as far in terms of stores go, pharmacies and grocery stores. So if worse comes to worse, we'll still have those options. As far as that's in my opinion, we never know. That's
And
the
it could even
honest
be
fact.
worse than that, because
it could be.
Here or in Italy, I don't know what the gun laws are like in Italy, but this is something I was talking to you yesterday about, is that I can see a lot of people not having that here in America, not having that martial law, that crackdown.
That just seems like ignorance to me, though.
It does, but I don't know. It could turn out worse than we are speculating right now. It could turn violent. Grocery stores might not be accessible anymore either. That will be a podcast for next week, though. If that does come to that shit, maybe we don't even make the podcast because it's time to head for the hills.
Seriously.
I don't know.
We'll broadcast live from an undisclosed location.
Yeah, we'll actually be on AM radio next week, so you'll have to tune in.
That's awesome. It's like freaking Terminator. But no, I do think it's a good idea right now that you stock up on just a little bit more than what you would normally get. So if you're somebody that goes out and stocks up in general, do that. Re-up. But don't take more than your fair share. You know what that is. Don't let your primal instincts kick in. Listen to your more developed and more reasonable section of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, the thing that follows logic, not just emotions like fear. Based off of that, like I said, take your fair share. Me and Alina, we shop for groceries every single day. We buy our dinner every single day.
See, that's just not going to work right now.
No, definitely not. And definitely not. That's why yesterday was frustrating, because it's come to the point where people who shop every day for their meals, so as not to let their food spoil in the refrigerator, are now being, I think, forced. I mean, not necessarily forced. No one's making me do this. It's still a decision I'm deciding on my own, but it's more out of in all honesty, fear that when I go back, there will be even less. So it's a tightrope that you walk between having a scarcity mindset and thinking that everything's going to be gone and doom and gloom and buying into the whole machine, and also being realistic.
So the realistic side is that the grocery stores are still up and operational. There are still employees working super hard to make sure that this food makes it out there, from the factory to the shipping to the actual store employees themselves. There's a lot of people working on this. But, I got to finish that by saying that we know that there will be more food coming. Mm-hmm. But the issue has been that every time that I've been going to the store, I've been seeing less and less food.
Yeah.
So that just means that everyone's buying up all the shit. So you need to look out for yourself and your household and your family.
Buy a couple days worth.
Yeah, make sure that you have some. Honestly, all homeowners previous to this, if you are a homeowner or if you live on your own or whatever, it's just a good idea to have some backup food stored, because, like, I don't know, I kind of think about end of days a lot more than the average person maybe, and I kind of, like to be prepared for the unforeseeable, and this is exactly that. Like, nobody a month or two ago knew that this was going to start happening here.
Yeah.
So if we make it through this fine and society comes back to normal, like everybody hopes it does, then next time you go to the grocery store, you'll buy a couple extra cans. So then start making that storage, so in case anything like this ever happens again, you'll be prepared. Yeah. Because it's just smart to have that stuff without rushing the store and buying all the toilet paper, or going in and, now that it's become scarce, continuing to make sure it stays scarce.
Yeah, no.
It's too late now. But now you just got to play the game. So
definitely. Unfortunately, too, I'd like to add, because I know, personally speaking, I didn't want to be any part of the people that were going and buying up all the toilet paper, because we saw the first signs of it like 3 weeks ago, man. We were at Costco and they were already out of toilet paper. All they had were paper towels, so we were like, okay, we'll just grab one. Like, we didn't think it was time to change anything. But now, like I said, it's come down to the wire, and we're having to make that decision between being realistic and also balancing out, like, whatever fears or paranoias that we have. But ultimately, I try to keep an eye looking forward, and I try not to let things like affect my state of peace, because that's really going to be a determining factor on, this whole end of days thing. It's a freaking virus that kills people. Yeah. But it's not bombs, like that comes from people who are unsettled and who don't have that inner peace.
Hear me out.
So I need that inner peace.
Hear me out. Coronavirus, COVID-19, created by the shadow government of the world and released upon the population on purpose to either start to lower the population, or at very least make some sort of economic reset, like, which is happening. So again, conspiracy theories rule. That could happen too. Like, we just don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
this could have all been orchestrated. We just don't know.
Yep.
So, like, you can, like you're saying, you can be responsible for your own inner peace.
Well, like, there's one example that I have where I was going to recycle some boxes, just throw them in the recycling bin, and every week they come and they pick it up from the front yard, like, pretty normal. Well, I was doing that, and a very cynical person that I know and who was at our house at this time decided that was stupid, and so he was gonna let me know it was stupid.
Freaking Ian.
Damn Ian. So he's like, that they just throw that stuff away, right? And so my response to that was, well, I'm not responsible for the actions of others. I'm responsible for my actions. And that's really it. You can only do what you can do. So if my intention is to recycle the box and try to do what I think is the right thing there, like, if they go and throw it away at the facility or whatever, then that's on them.
I don't think they're just gonna throw it away. I think
don't
they
think
have
so either.
a process. If you've got clean cardboard that you're
Yeah.
putting in, I think that's recyclable. Not positive, but I've thrown a lot of cardboard boxes in recycling bins in my day.
Yeah.
And I know they take them to the recycling plant.
Right, exactly. So, but that's the thing. Like whether they do or don't.
No,
or
he's
don't.
right. He's right. I mean,
That's
or
it.
she. I don't know who it was.
No,
they were
he
right.
Totally knows. He knows it all, man. But that's why I came back with that, because really, like, I don't know what goes on after. Like once it's out of my line of sight, it's not even part of my consciousness. Like I'm not thinking about it very
Don't lie.
much.
You're thinking about those boxes right
Keeps
now.
me up,
Actually,
man.
you
Keeps me
legitimately
up.
are.
I'm sweating. I'm itching right now. Like, dude, I'm starting to get the brain pain just thinking about it. But yeah, you can only be responsible for yourself, for the actions of you, nobody else. So be responsible in the best way that you see fit, and really let logic kind of rule that, because emotion is good and all. It helps keep us alive. Like we need these fear instincts to keep us moving forward, but they can also keep people back. And so be aware of your emotions and be aware of your state of mind. So then that way, when you go out and, you know, let's say before they actually quarantine everybody and mandate that people are to stay indoors at all times, then you can go out there and maintain a certain degree of civility and calmness, because I don't think anybody likes this shit, man. It's stressful. Like it's stressful and it feels weird, but sounds like I'm coming out of the closet. Yeah. It's one of those butt plugs where you give the other person the remote, and it's like they're just triggering it at random times.
That's the coronavirus summed up in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a surprise vibration from your butthole.
Well, I think that brings us full circle in what we were trying to talk about last week and this week both, was that control what you can, do what you can to keep yourself healthy, first and foremost, because there is no worrying about going out and shopping or going out and exercising or anything like that if you're dead. So you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. Make sure you got your food. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you have a plan to continue with your activity, to keep up with good, healthy habits, and to generally look out for the other people in your community. You don't want to be that person stepping on everybody's heads, climbing up the ladder there.
Nah.
I think it will play more in your favor to be one with the whole, rather than making yourself just an individual. Because like John said, we're all in this together. Nobody likes this. Nobody knows what's going to go on. And that is just, it's different. It's a crazy time.
Yeah.
So do what you can. Try to be a decent person. I like the golden rule: do unto others as you would want them to do to you.
Yeah.
I know I pretty massacred that, but you know,
that's the gist of it, man.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. Don't do things to people that you wouldn't like to be done to yourself, and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
This time.
What's the other saying?
And always
be fit for service so you can be of service. So by taking care of yourself, you're therefore helping to take care of others by being able to be of service to them, be useful to them. So not just physically, but also mentally. I mean, being indoors, anybody seen The Shining? Like, come on, can drive a person crazy. So you need to do things and be proactive about doing things to keep your mind sharp and your body. So then that way, not only are you helping yourself, but you're helping others. It trickles down. It's like ripples in the water. La, 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 la.
Karma could be a real thing. I believe in it.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think it's not a thing. So you just try to be, now in this time of a real test, this will show what you're made of as a person, and try to be that person that you would want to look up to.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Perfect.
With that, do you have anything left to add?
No, just another extended thank you to all of our listeners and people who have stuck with us. Episode 13, it's crazy to believe that in 13 weeks we've gone from complete normal, everyday life to whatever is going on now. But I'm still excited and super hopeful for the future. So stick with us as we continue to do our best to provide content. This is, of course, going to be a nice opportunity for us to draw a plan and strategy moving forward. So keep an eye out, all the different channels, the Iron Will Collective, and stay saucy.
Yep, and always, and especially remember now to reach out if you guys have any questions about training, nutrition, or just need someone to talk to or anything right now. We're here and we want to help. Yep, so thanks again for listening. Good night.
Good night.